Hi, my name is Kiana Pedicolis. I am the enrollment specialist in the Office of Pupil Accounting and School Boundaries. Today, we're going to do a quick overview of our no-show procedures so that schools have a little bit of knowledge or background with what is required in order to make sure that we are successful this year as much as possible with the no-show process. So, if you're not familiar with no-shows, what is a no-show? Typically, a no-show is a student who is expected to start at the beginning of the school year, the first day of school within your building. They have attended with us last school year, or they may have come and registered with you over the summer. The school year starts, and the student does not show for typically the first 10 days. This is important that we are monitoring this information because this is how we receive our funding. The Maryland State Department of Education provides funding to school systems based on our September 30th enrollment. If we accidentally report a student who is considered what we call a no-show, and we find out after the fact, it kind of hurts us in the end because we've actually received funding for a student who is not there. Some ways to ensure that we do withdraw those students in time would be making sure that you, as the registrar, record secretary, principal secretary, you all have a plan in place at your school. Staff should be working together as a team. Speaking with your school leadership, your principals. You'll want to make sure you're in communication with your teachers and your pupil personnel workers. You'll want to produce class rosters. You want to make sure that teachers are, let's say, experiencing or executing the warm body counts. You all can be pulling your attendance reports. I know at the high schools you have your attendance secretaries. We also have an Apex, our no-show reports. It will provide you a list of students based on certain criteria that are possible no-shows that you all can look into. You can look at students who don't have schedules, but they're showing enrolled in your building. You can also use that information when you go to Apex through your scheduling modules to look at students' whole and conflict reports. So those are just some ways to make sure that that information is being identified. When you all are withdrawing those students, again, it's based off of a 10-day absence unexcused. You'll want to make sure that you all are reaching out to the parents. After 3 or 4 days, the teacher notices, hey, we haven't seen Sarah so far the first week of school. Someone should be reaching out, calling the parent to find out what's going on with that student. If the student is severely ill, the parent will want to provide a doctor's note, and so that will be considered an excused absence with the expectation that the student will be reporting. If you find out that the student is just sitting at home and maybe the parent is having a difficult time, the PPW may want to get involved to determine if you will follow that no-show policy or take that parent up for truancy. Our no-shows should be withdrawn by September 15th. Again, the first 10 days of school are August 28th through September 11th. And so the expectation is to make sure that schools are following their processes. So those students are withdrawn by the September 15th for no-show so that we can allocate and make sure that those students are not reported. Other things that the registrars may need to know, again, with the withdrawing of the students, we talked about withdrawing by the 15th, and you'll want to make sure that those students will be withdrawn using the July 1, 2003 withdrawal date. So that date would be used in the begin and end enrollment dates for the students. You also may determine that moving forward, students may be withdrawn. They may have reported the first or second or third day of school, and now they're no longer showing up because the parent has moved and or transitioned out of the county. You'll want to make sure in those instances, if the student is to be withdrawn, that student is actually withdrawn on the first day of absence. Another thing that you may run into once the school year begins with School Max, it's then also looking at the schedule that's attached and attendance. So you may have determined that you do have a no-show student. However, School Max is a little tricky and it will not allow that withdrawal. In those instances, you may have to withdraw using that effective date. And then you want to edit and end those enrollment dates and take it back to the July 1 in the begin and end date fields. If that does not work, you may have to go in and make sure that attendance is removed for that student and that student's schedule is dropped. You also may run into sometimes the students may be on the roster, the teacher somehow didn't inform school staff that, hey, the student didn't show. We do unfortunately have situations where students may fall through the cracks and stay on our enrollment. If you find after September 30th that has occurred, we do have a process in place where school principals would have to sign a memorandum and send that to their area office and CC our office so that we can make the appropriate adjustments. One, in School Max, and two, make sure we have that data collected should that student be audited through the Maryland State Department of Education. And as always, if you have any questions, please contact our office at 301-952-6300. You can send an email to our office email at pasbt@pgcps.org. We are always here to support, and just give us a call or shoot us an email, and we'll be happy to assist. Thank you for watching.